Coming up, severe storms possible tomorrow and the latest on the Texas school massacre.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Tomorrow could be a stormy one around the region. That's why we've declared a severe weather alert day. Meteorologist Evan Hatter has more on what to expect. Evan.
Well, Steve, the good news is we appear so far to have lucked out in terms of any showers and storms throughout the nighttime hours tonight, or at least the evening hours. We'll be keeping an eye on that, but the eyes turn to tomorrow's potential for strong to severe thunderstorms. And we'll keep an eye on that, too. Outside at the moment, it's all quiet. I-75 at Mount Vernon. Traffic is moving smoothly. We've had a few showers around the region, but that's about it. High knob camera at UVA-wise, they're down to 63 right now. All is quiet. Highs today got up into the middle 80s in many spots. How about Middlesboro, Hazard, and Prestonsburg all getting up to 86 this afternoon. Temperatures at this hour remain very mild. Low to mid-70s, 70 Manchester, 72 Hazard, 74 London and Jackson. How about 75 apiece, Prestonsburg and Somerset, and 77 apiece, Irvin and Moorhead at 11 o'clock. It's rather toasty still. Pinpoint Dopplers all clear around our neck of the woods. This is where the showers and storms from earlier have moved on up into the Buckeye State. But look to our south, more on the way as we continue to watch a big-time low pressure out to the west work on into the region. Maybe a spotty shower tonight, otherwise mostly cloudy and into the mid-60s. I'll have the very latest on when we could see strong to severe storms in the mountains and what the main threats are coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. New details have emerged in the wake of Tuesday's massacre at a Texas grade school, but investigators say they have yet to determine a motive for what happened. CBS's Jason Allen begins our coverage from Uvalde, Texas.
The South Texas town of Uvalde is mourning the deaths of 19 children and 2 teachers at Robb Elementary School. All of them were inside a single 4th grade classroom. The gunman has been identified as 18-year-old Salvador Ramos. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said the rampage began when he shot his grandmother. He then went to the school armed with a pair of semi-automatic rifles.
There has been no criminal history identified yet. He may have had a juvenile record, but that is yet to be determined. There was no known mental health history.
This is where families came to be reunited with students after the shooting. The families of all 21 of the victims have now been notified. Officials said that the remains of their loved ones will be released to them once autopsies are complete.
Governor Abbott said the only warning came in a series of private Facebook messages sent Tuesday morning.
The third post, maybe less than 15 minutes before arriving at the school, was, "I'm going to shoot an elementary school."
Investigators spent Wednesday combing through the house where the gunman lived. Authorities believe he acted alone and say he legally purchased the weapons that he used. Jason Allen, CBS News, Uvalde, Texas.
Tuesday's rampage ended when a Border Patrol agent fatally shot the gunman. The suspect's 66-year-old grandmother remains hospitalized in critical condition. Following the massacre in Texas, we talked with a behavioral health specialist who urges parents and kids not to get fixated on the incident because then you could see a decline in your mental health.
Step back and do things that distract you, do things that make you feel comfortable, get your mind on other things, put yourself into a hobby, and try to just re-ground yourself in that you're going to be okay.
Dr. Martin says if your child wants to talk about the shooting, just make sure you're giving them factual information and let them guide the conversation. Many families are looking at school safety measures following the horrific Texas shooting. We reached out to multiple districts to get a feel for how they dealt with this, as many of them were having their last day of school today. Franklin County Superintendent says increased safety is on the minds of many school leaders following what happened.
I'm not a fan of arming teachers, but I am not opposed to having weapons in schools as long as it's in the hands of someone who is trained.
The secret is to keep them out of the school. If you have a bad person, once they get in, then time's on their side.
School leaders say despite the frequency of violent actions, schools statistically remain one of the safest places for children. Prestonsburg police recovered a body from the Leviza Fork of the Big Sandy River this afternoon after following up on an investigation they've been assisting with in the area. Officers say they were in the Ball Alley Curve area of Lancer. After watching a video related to an ongoing investigation, officers were sweeping the river when they recovered a man's body. The coroner was called to the scene, and Kentucky State Police are now leading the investigation. The identity of the man is not confirmed as officials await further testing. Police are investigating a triple murder today in Lexington. Officers first arrived at Kaywood Drive after calls of a reported assault with a gun around 4 this afternoon. Fayette County Coroner Gary Ginn says they believe a man shot and killed his wife and 2 daughters. Neighbors are reacting strongly to the news, especially in the aftermath of other recent shootings.
I came home from church yesterday and the shooting at the Texas school, it just made me sick. And then have this to happen so close to us. I pray for the family. I pray for them. But everything that's going on today with the stress of everybody trying to just live, it's pretty tough on the ones that can't do it. So they break down, and this is what happens. It's really sad.
The victims were identified as 65-year-old Lisa Wilson and her 2 daughters, Brianni and Bronwyn. 64-year-old Stephen Wilson is charged with 3 counts of murder, domestic violence. The University of Kentucky College of Public Health is mourning the death of its inaugural dean. A Facebook post from the college says Dr. F. Douglas Scutchfield died Monday night. Scutchfield is from the Wheelwright community of Floyd County. The college is remembering him as an author, diplomat, doctor, editor, educator, father, founder, mentor, researcher, and veteran. A celebration of life and funeral arrangements are pending. New tonight, former state representative and candidate for governor Robert Goforth pleads guilty in federal court to charges related to health care fraud. Court records show he admitted that his Clay County pharmacy billed for prescriptions that were not picked up. Goforth owned Hometown Pharmacy in Manchester. In his plea agreement, Goforth said there was about $2.7 million in excess billing. He said about half of that happened after he learned about the billing issue. Goforth could face up to 10 years in prison for the health care fraud charge and 1 money laundering charge. He could also be ordered to pay nearly $3 million in restitution. Sentencing is set for September 20th at 10:30 a.m. in London. A collaboration between agencies in the Big Sandy led to a major bust in Floyd County. Following a burglary at a storage unit in Pikeville, police tracked down one of the 3 suspects to his home in Floyd County. After giving the sheriff's office there a call, both departments, as well as troopers from KSB Post 9, converged on the home. At the home, officers found much of the stolen property, as well as drugs, paraphernalia, cash, and a loaded firearm. Officers arrested Terry Rogers for burglary in Pike County, while he picked up several drug-related offenses in Floyd County. Police say the teamwork was great to see.
That's been our goal from day one that we took this office, that we want to reach out to other offices, other departments, other agencies, give them what we know, share information, work together.
Along with Rogers, 3 other men were found at the home. Each was served arrest warrants totaling more than 20 charges between the 3 of them. All 4 men were taken to the Floyd County Detention Center. Pike County officials are working with the Small Business Administration to open doors for families in the area who lost so much during the first days of 2022. WYMT's Buddy Forbes shows us how a remote office in the Belfry area is hoping to bring more options to those in need.
Sounds of waters raging met with the sounds of working to rebuild.
You know, it's really tough. Having been there from the time when we were rescuing folks out of homes, when the water's up around their homes or in their homes, to the point where you're going back, doing damage assessment once the water goes down.
Many people in Pike County impacted by the New Year's Day flooding are still looking for a hand up.
The first time we got denied by FEMA, We filed the appeal. We get denied again.
Which is where the U.S. Small Business Administration is hoping to help out.
Potentially, someone could be eligible for $240,000 at 1.43% for 30 years.
The SBA is offering low-interest loans to help impacted residents and businesses keep their heads above as they continue the efforts to move forward. Setting up at the Belfry Fire Department to help anyone who needs assistance filling out an application over the next week.
You know, it's not like saying there's nothing we can do. There's no guarantee that everybody qualifies for this, but at least there is a program out there that possibly can help folks that are in a pinch.
Pike County Emergency Management Director Nee Jackson says this is not the answer for everyone, and other possible options and programs are still being looked into.
There are some things that are available, and if people don't apply, they'll never know if they're going to qualify.
But he said this assistance could mean everything to someone. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
The application assistance site is open at the fire department through June 2nd. Those involved hope it will encourage more of those impacted by the flooding to look into their options. You can find the assistance hours and more information over on our website. In Estill County, crews were out this morning working to put out a fire. An abandoned house in South Irvin was on fire. Crews got there at 4 a.m. and in a Facebook post they said, quote, "This is what we encountered on the structure fire this morning upon arrival, and last was when we left." No injuries were reported. Roads were closed as crews battled the flames. Wolfe County Search and Rescue had a busy evening yesterday. A Facebook post from the group says they received a 911 call for 2 lost hikers around 7 p.m. The rescue team was able to get a set of coordinates for the hikers. The post said the hikers began their hike around 1 and became disoriented. Team members were able to give the hikers directions to meet with them without going deep into the woods. Drivers in the city of Martin and Floyd County will need to find alternate routes tomorrow. The Martin Fire Department says Main Street, also known as Kentucky 1428, will be closed in 20-minute intervals between the Spur Bridge entrance and the old high school beginning at 8 a.m. tomorrow. They encourage drivers to avoid the area and to expect long delays due to the ongoing Martin Flood Project operation, which involves raising and relocating the city. Still to come at 11, we continue to follow the ongoing baby formula shortage as many moms are still struggling to find it.
But first, we're not done with storm chances as we head into tomorrow. I'll time out our cold front pushing through, and if any of those storms could be strong to severe, just ahead.